Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Bergman, and I work as a policy manager here at the Center for Rural Affairs. The center was established in 1973 in Northeast Nebraska. We have staff in Lyons, Nebraska, and across the state, as well as in South Dakota, Minnesota, and here in Iowa. We exist to build more vibrant rural communities. Today, I'm here to talk about one of our publications that was recently released that goes into detail on the carbon impact of conservation practices. Our soils in the Midwest are very productive due to a thick layer of topsoil from recent glaciation. Because of that, over the last 150 years, agriculture has grown to one of the leading industries for the Midwest region. The agriculture production, however, has a significant impact on the soil organic carbon levels. It's really important for us to prioritize keeping our soils healthy so that future generations can use the land as productively as we are now. Healthy soils have many benefits, including increased water infiltration and water holding capacity, so infiltrating the water and holding it to when the plants need it. Also increased aggregation or aggregate stability or soil structure, and then also better nutrient availability for plants and organisms to consume when needed. There are several ways to improve the health of our soils and sequester carbon while still maintaining agriculture production. That is through conservation practices. So this report, titled The Conservation Practice Impact on Carbon Sequestration, covers 7 practices that vary in intensity, cost, and ability to sequester carbon. The first practice featured is reduced tillage. So reduced tillage is tilling less frequently or with a less intense form of tillage, like vertical till, strip till, etc. Limiting the soil disturbing activities improves the soil carbon retention and also minimizes carbon emissions from the soils. So when comparing reduced tillage to conventional tillage, reduced tillage has the ability to sequester up to 0.13 metric tons of carbon dioxide per acre per year. So for reference, the average gas vehicle emits 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide a year. So reducing the tillage from a conventional system to a less intensive form of tillage on just 35 acres would equate to about 1 year's for one car per year of their carbon dioxide emissions. So if you were to take that a step further and do no tillage in your operation and only disturb the soil by planting, up to 0.42 metric tons of carbon dioxide per acre per year can be sequestered. So that would only take about 11 acres to equate to 1 car's annual CO2 emissions. Another practice that was featured in this report is cover crops. So these are plants seeded right before or after harvest of a cash crop in order to protect the soil from eroding in the off-season. So cover crops also help sequester carbon. They have the potential to sequester up to 0.32 metric tons of carbon dioxide per acre per year. Another practice in this report is the conservation crop rotation, or also called extended rotation. So essentially, it is rotating more crops beyond the cash crop of soybean and corn rotation that are typically rotated in the Midwest. So some producers have a 5 or even 7 or more year rotation before they go back to that first crop that they planted. So typical crops added to a corn and soybean rotation is grasses, legumes, and small grains. And this practice actually has the potential to sequester up to 0.26 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. The final 3 practices that this report covers are more structural in nature, meaning that they aren't managed as often or an intentional practice that needs to happen every year or every growing season. So they're more of an established and only managed once in a while type of practice. The first is contour buffer strips. So these are strips of grass or a mixture of grasses and legumes that run along the contour of a farmed field. So this practice has this potential to sequester up to 1.05 metric tons of carbon dioxide per acre per year. So back to that car equivalent that I said earlier, it would only take a little over 4 acres of contour buffer strips to equate to a car's annual CO2 emissions. The next practice featured is a filter strip. So this is a strip of herbaceous vegetation like grasses, trees, and shrubs that are designed to remove contaminants of overland flow, also called runoff. This practice also has the potential to sequester up to 1.05 metric tons of carbon dioxide per acre per year. The final practice featured in this report entitled Conservation Impact on Carbon Sequestration is grassed waterways. So these are constructed graded channels that are planted into perennial vegetation, typically grasses, and it actually guides the water flow within a field to a stable outlet. So this practice has the ability to sequester up to 1.05 metric tons of carbon dioxide per acre per year. So again, the car equivalent, about 4 acres of grass waterway would equate to 1 car's annual CO2 emissions. It's really important to know that these conservation practices I just featured cost money. There are financial assistance available, however, for producers that want to voluntarily implement these practices. So there are many state level programs in each state, and also federal programs through the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service, or NRCS. There are 2 programs that provide financial assistance. That is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP, and the Conservation Stewardship Program, or CSP. We have a lot of information on those available on our website, so please check that out and reach out with any questions. We're happy to connect you with your local NRCS office. The information I covered today can be found in the report titled Conservation Practice Impact on Carbon Sequestration. It can be found at the center's website by going to cfra.org/climate. And I know my colleague Teresa is pasting that in the comments. Again, that's cfra.org/climate. Thanks again for watching today's Rural Report. Make sure to tune in next week at Tuesday at noon for the next episode.